Hare
Pranam.
Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Prabhuji. Can I present on behalf of Anandini Radha Mataji?
Yes, Prabhu.
She's not keeping little well today, so sort of just she has prepared the presentation. I'm just going to present it for all of you. So, with all your permission, so can I start? You can. I'm audible, right?
Yes, Prabhuji, please start.
Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam to all. Today I'm going to speak on one of the 6 activities, which is the detrimental for our spiritual progress, and that is Laulyam, or it is greed. So other devotees have nicely explained 5 activities earlier. So this is the small attempt for our own purification. We are going to talk on Laulyam, and it might benefit the listeners too. So I'm going to present few points from lectures heard from His Holiness Bhakti Rasamrut Maharaj and Gauranga Prabhu from Chopati. This has inspired me a lot, and thought of sharing with you on this particular topic today. Since I think you all have started discussing shloka number 3, verse number 3, I would like to correlate this shloka, which is number 2, with the third one. Okay, so there are some do's and don'ts on the path of bhakti. Correct. Verse number 2 explains Shadbir Bhakti Vinashyati. So 6 type of activities which destroys our bhakti. So these are basically don'ts. We should not do those things which destroys bhakti. Therefore, we must pay very careful attention to these 6 activities which are unfavorable for bhakti. Okay, and verse number 3, which is explaining the activities which we are going to discuss in coming days, which are favorable for growth of our bhakti. So this verse says, Shadbir Bhakti Prasiddhati. So these are do's on the path of bhakti, which we must practice. So these are do's and don'ts. Basically, verse number 2 is don'ts, and verse number 3 is do's. So in Vedic scriptures, do's are called vidhi. It means rules which we must follow, and don'ts are called nishedh. Nishedh, it means prohibitions, which we should not do this, we should not do that. So both have, but when we are practicing, both have to be strictly followed. Do's and don'ts both have to be strictly followed. There are so many vidhi and nishedh given in our Vedic scriptures, but our Acharya Rupa Goswami, who follows the footstep of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, have extracted most relevant rules and prohibitions, which are connected only with the growth of our bhakti and not for the karma kanda activities done for material benefits. So they are very important. When we go to doctor, usually doctor gives us 2 types of instructions, right? What are the 2 types of instructions? Do's and don'ts. We will say, he will say that you take this medicine. Yeah, he will prescribe the medicine. Eat this type of food. Do this exercise. He will give many do's. At the same time, he will also tell us many don'ts. Don't eat fried items. Don't eat sour items. Don't do this. Don't do that. So he gives 2 types: do's and don'ts, and medicines. So we have to follow both these types of instructions. If we just take medicines and don't follow diet and exercise, or we just follow diet and exercise without taking medicines, Yeah, we will not be cured from the disease, correct? So Rupa Goswami, who is the topmost spiritual doctor, he has given us do's and don'ts for our spiritual progress and our, bhavarog which we are having. So Chaitanya Charitamrut in Madhya Lila, verse number 22.113 says, it says that Smartavya Satatam Vishnur Vismartavyo na jatu chit Sarve Vidhi Nishedhasyur Etoyor Eva Kinkara. So it means Krishna is the origin of Lord Vishnu. He should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. All the rules and prohibitions mentioned in the Shastras should be servant of these two principles. What are two principles? Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. There are so many vidhi and nishedas given in Shastra. All of them are ultimately concludes to one vidhi and one nished. This one vidhi is master of all vidhis. Vidhi means rules. Rules means the do's. There is one vidhi, one rule, which is the master of all the rules, and this means the rule must be performed for fulfilling that master rule. What is that master rule? It is always remember Krishna. If you follow this rule, you are following all the rules. So that is what we must remember. Which is the one which is Nishedh, which is the mother of or master of all Nishedh or the prohibition, and that is never forget Krishna. So that is Nishedh. You should not forget the Krishna. So always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna. The one is rule and the other is prohibition. So both give same meaning. Actually, if you look at it, the meaning is same, is it not? But then why they are expressed separately as a rule and prohibition? There is a very important reason why they are mentioned separately. In scriptures, this verse is meant for practicing devotees like us, you see, who are not perfect actually. So only by practicing for so many years or lifetimes, we will become perfect. So right now we have just started our bhakti process. So in the practice of Krishna consciousness, we are not very strong. So we are not able to always remember Krishna, and we are often forgetting Krishna. So that this is why these vidhis and nishedh are given. So therefore we have to design the program for our life. Our day-to-day activities, our lifestyle has to be arranged in such a way that the vidhi will be fulfilled and nishedh also will be fulfilled. Therefore, vidhi, that always remember Krishna, means we will perform those activities which will help us to remember Krishna, which are favorable activities for Krishna consciousness. And nishedh means avoid those activities which will make us to forget Krishna. So we should avoid which are those activities which are unfavorable for Krishna consciousness. Therefore, vidhi and nishedh means the same thing, but actually they are different. Why? It reflects the activities which we do in Krishna consciousness. Yeah. So in our spiritual practice, we want to be completely cured from anartha, correct? So we want to, if we want to go back to Godhead, all these anartha should be 100% removed. So we have to follow both vidhi and nishedh together. Merely following nishedh will not make us devotee of Krishna. Now if you see many people, who are vegetarians, some do not drink alcohol, they follow all the regulative principles, but they are not necessarily devotees. So we cannot do one or other. We have to do both for the spiritual progress. So this is the just a little comparison of do's and don'ts, which is Rupa Goswami has given in verse number 2 and verse number 3. Now, let us discuss about Laulyam, which means greed. This is the last activity in the second verse. This is causing destruction of bhakti. So, greed is a powerful problem actually faced by all of us, individually and collectively. In the society, it can create havoc actually, if you look at it. So, let me share one story in this regard. There were two friends, they were walking on the road. One friend was looking very morose and sad. So the second friend asked him, "Why are you looking so sad?" So first friend replied, "You see, 3 weeks back, one of my uncle passed away. He left behind for me 50 lakhs rupees inheritance." So other fellow said, "This is big money. Then what happened?" The first fellow said, "2 weeks back, one of my grandmother passed away and she left 75 lakh rupees inheritance." So friend said, "That's great. Then what is the reason for to be sad?" He says, "Last week my grandfather passed away. He left for me 1 crore rupees inheritance." The other fellow was bewildered, like he was saying, "Why are you looking so sad? So, so many people have left behind so much for you. So there is no need for lamenting. You don't need to be sad." So the fellow said that, "You know what, this week nobody passed away." So this is the nature of greed. See? The nature of desire. There is no end to it and no one can satisfy this, you see. So let's see the definition of greed. So greed means desiring excessively, this is a desire for excessive possessing, especially wishing to possess more than or what one needs to desire. Everyone, according to his capacity, has been given certain quota in this creation. The ant gets its food, elephant gets its food, but specially human being is gifted with special quality. This is to accumulate more than what he needs. See, we are all aware of the story which is discussed earlier many times. This is the bag of grain. When bird comes, he takes away only what he needs, and if human being comes, he will take the whole bag of guns. So this is the known example of greed. There was one more incident. There was famous film actress and politician, all of you know, Jayalalitha. She had how many saris? All Matajis must know. She had 12,000 saris, 750 pair of slippers, and 500 wine glasses. Can normal person utilize this much? So is it not greed? So ultimately, everything was seized by Karnataka government, after income tax raids on her house. So, so in this context, I'd like to share some quotes, about the greed. When there is a question of money, people say that there is a question of money, everyone is of the same religion. So there is no religion. Money brings you all together. Another one says, when wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. And when character is lost, everything lost. So this is the famous saying, So once upon a time, it was famous saying. But now in this age and days, it has become exactly opposite. People have principles which goes exactly opposite of this saying. If character is lost, nothing is lost. If health is lost, something is lost. But wealth is lost, everything is lost. You see? So this is how people have the mentality in modern age. So we can see extent of degradation taken place in this age. Therefore, it is very important to educate the people, educate ourselves in values and principles. This can be done when they are young. Basically, when they are children, we have to habit, which they are in habit forming age. So, example is teaching children to share the things. When they learn to share the things, this greed will not be incepted. So conscious effort to lead life free from greed. We have to have conscious effort, and from this they will benefit the people whom they are leading tomorrow, and will also benefit. So real service, when anybody wants to do service, that only can be performed by person whose heart is free from the greed. Such person is selfless. You see, so person filled with greed in the heart will not be able to serve properly. So only that person whose heart is free from greed can serve better. So let's now look at some symptoms and consequences of greed. Usually people consider that anger is deadly. Some people say lust. If lust is in the mind, it's a deadly problem. Greed is oftentimes considered as mild problem. They don't influence in negative way, right? So but many people say, uh, if there is no greed, there is no motivation to work, correct? So that is how people say that the greed should be there. But no, actually, there is a great difference. You can't realize what consequences greed can have. We'll discuss a few of them shortly. So greed, we can classify greed, the consequences, uh, physiological consequences or financial, social, corporate, family, emotional, and political. Yeah. So these are this is where it affects. So let's look at physiological consequences of greed. So symptom for this is meat eating. So results are how it affects. First one is death. So how it is explained? Meat based diets, people get heart attacks. So rate is 1 in 45 seconds in USA. The person who has meat based diet has got 50% more chance of getting heart attack, whereas vegetarian person has 15%, only 15% chance of getting heart attack. So therefore, risk factor of death is much more when there is meat-based diet. Second, the consequence is a desire. In order to preserve that meat, what happens? Lot of chemicals are added as preservatives, and these chemicals have similar effect on our body as nicotine has. So because of influence of nicotine on our body, it creates craving within. You see, like smoking, when person has a irresistible urge to eat meat again and again. And what to speak on about cruelty to animals? Globally, 5 lakh animals are killed every hour, slaughtered mercilessly, simply to satisfy the greed of the tongue. So this is the physiological effect. Now let's look at financial consequences of greed. So symptom for this is gambling. So Las Vegas is considered as the Mecca of gambling. 1/3 of GNP of America comes from gambling, because according to the studies conducted in the past, 60% of adults seem to be addicted to gambling in America. So this is the effect. In India, cricket was just a game In cricket, because of the concept of match fixing, so much money is involved nowadays. People are gambling, not just a match, but they gamble on every ball. So this is the product of overwhelming greed. Wanted to make quick bucks out of nothing. So that's what the financial effect. So this greed also results in dishonesty. You agree with this? So this dishonesty is we get desire to make money faster. So you don't care how you make that money. So this contains for life itself. You see, you'll not believe, but there was a gambling incident noticed in Sunrise Hospital in Las Vegas. This is long back. Management of hospital suddenly found that number of deaths in terminally ill people increase rapidly. So for no reason, suddenly terminally ill people were dying before time. Even doctors were bewildered. Why is this happening? So they made investigation, and they were shocked and horrified. Some of the nurses treating these patients were indulging in gambling on the patient's life. Who will go first? They were betting their money, thousands of dollars. $1,000 for bed number 4, $2,000 for bed number 5. See, when they found that they are losing the bed, they will switch off the oxygen support system and kill the patient. Very deadly, horrible, is it not? This is the way of making money. So for gambler, money is life. He's losing money means he is losing life, and if he is losing life, he doesn't mind taking life. Another effect is, the crime rate increases. See, this kind of gambling involves, casinos. The gambling involves a lot of money. If someone loses money and unable to pay, so it has to be recovered. So casino owners, what they do, they engage criminals to go and collect. So casinos depend on criminals, and criminals depend on casinos. These are some consequences of financial greed. At corporate level, at the company level, greed causes the scammings. You must have heard a lot of scams. There is loss of economy because of this, loss of public faith, insecurity. You must have heard of scams like Arthur and Anderson, Xerox, Enron, and so on. There are so many examples. Big scandals. People feel insecure. Many years back in India, there was guy Harshad Mehta. He had created a big scam. Hundreds and thousands of people invested their money and they lost. Economy was crashed. Now and then these scandals keep coming up. Why is this? It is nothing but the influence of greed. So there was a split in Ambani family after Dhirubhai Ambani left. Shareholders were telling brothers, please stay together like Ram and Lakshman. Is that these people were interested in Ramayana? No. They say you stay together, so you'll make good money, and obviously we will also make good money. So that's what the intention. So at family level, we'll briefly discuss few of them. At family level, what happens is there are many problems because of grades. Mainly because of dowry. You all know this problem, so we'll not discuss in detail. Emotionally, this greed results in dissatisfaction. Yeah, person is dissatisfied. Person is never satisfied. Whatever he may receive, this results in stress. That results in suicide, and so on. So this is the emotional disorder. So this is also a big result of greed. Politically, result of corruption, like there increase in corruption, scams, scandals happen due to greed. So according to Bhagavad Gita, the cause or origin of greed is described in chapter 14, verse number 17. It says, Rajaso lobha evacha. So, Rajogun or mode of passion gives rise to greed. And how does greed works? Begins with enjoyment attitude, okay, sense gratification. So that's how the greed starts. Enjoyment attitude means I want to satisfy my senses. This desire is there. This desire is centered with ego attitude. Yes, I can fulfill my desire. Each person has certain ego and feeling that I can accomplish my desire on the basis of my intelligence, my education, my money power. Okay, so this results in hankering attitude. People get hankered to desires, and then I want more and more and more. So for that, I want to work hard to fulfill my desire, and then desire goes on increasing. So that's how it increases. So enjoyment attitude actually greed increases. So desires are so unlimited. If anybody has studied the economics, yeah, there are unlimited wants. It's mentioned. So even if you have ocean like ink and unlimited paper like sky, and pen nib is so fine that your ocean of ink will finish, paper will finish, but my desires will never end if you want to make a list of your desires. Bhagavad Gita and Ishopanishad is teaching us that entire creation is made perfect and complete if we have to accept our quota and stay satisfied. So that is what it is given in our scriptures. So now, having discussed the consequences, let's look at how we can overcome the greed. So these are some tips, like you see, we can practice and follow, so we can overcome this greed or Laulyam, which is explained. So first one is to serve others. Seva karna chahiye. We should learn how from tree, how the tree vriksha experiences all kind of misery, but it helps others by giving out its fruits, its shadow, and its products. It is selflessly. So tree is the best example. So real satisfaction comes not only in accumulating, but sharing and giving. So this is the secret of satisfaction when we start sharing and joy in life. So real peace and contentment comes by serving, sharing, and giving. So that is why in ISKCON we encourage people to do donations. So that's how our greed will come, will be reduced. Therefore, like it is in tennis match, you see, example is given most of the time. If you want to win the match, you must know how to serve. So service is very important. So tennis match starts with what principle? What scores? They call it love all. Yeah. So first initial score is love all. That is the principle of Krishna consciousness. Love all. Serve others, knowing that every soul is part and parcel of Krishna, who is super soul. And one should not think that one will gain by accumulating, but one should be in trusty consciousness. See, because whatever we have, Lord has made us trusty. The sources, wealth, and power that have is not mine. It is existed before I came, and it will exist even after I go. So I have been entrusted with it for a good cause. So I have to take care of it. So if that attitude comes, the greed will not develop. Secondly, avoid meat eating. So it is already mentioned that meat eating has very deadly disease. It is you can get a lot of heart attack and all those diseases. So it can destroy all of us morally and spiritually. So even in terms of health, Therefore, we have to avoid meat eating. Big outlets are being opened, all over the places, and they induce people to come and enjoy, eat meat, cow's meat, various other meats. But we should know that heavy karmic consequences it is going to have by eating meat. So we should avoid meat eating. Thirdly, we have to train our mind to be satisfied. So Bhagavatam describes that satisfaction is just like a shoe, and our mind is like a foot. So your foot will be unaffected in any landscape, whether it is nice paved ground, pebbles, stone, thorns. If you have good strong shoe of satisfaction, uh, your mind, it will be protected. With strong shoe, you can walk on any territory and remain unaffected. Similarly, the mind, which is like a foot, uh, if it is covered with strong shoe of satisfaction, in any circumstances and situation in life, you will be unaffected. So therefore, one has to train the mind in satisfaction, how to stay satisfied. Next one is insulate your mind. Insulate your mind with knowledge from Shastras, from Prabhupada books, which are available for us. Read these books, study these books, and fill up your mind and intelligence. Inspiration is derived from these books. How to be free from greed. Next one is spiritualize your desire. See, we say bring Krishna in the center of your activities. So that is very important, because actually desires are neutral, just like uh, just like when Titanic was floating on the water, but it sank because of water only. So water in one form floats the ship, and water in another form, like in the form of ice, sinks the ship. Similarly, the desires are neutral. Spiritual desires keep you afloat, and material desires will sink and upset your consciousness and drag you down to the future, like to in a future life, to hellish condition. So one has to spiritualize his desires. This is what our acharyas also tell us. So next one is that to feast on Krishna Prasad, because prasadam is most tangible and practical way in which the soul can experience the Krishna consciousness and Krishna's mercy. So that's very powerful process of starting your spiritual journey. So whatever you cook, offer it to Lord Krishna, and accept it as Krishna's mercy, and that will help us to overcome this. So lastly, what we have to do is surrender to Krishna's will. Submit and surrender to Supreme Will. Lord has his laws that cannot be ignored. We cannot ignore laws. And first, we have to understand and follow the laws and principles from scriptures. Yeah, this is why we are learning, doing Bhakti Shastri. We are learning all the scriptures. We're discussing every day. Atul Prabhu is helping us in that. So it's very wonderful. These principles, they will help us to overcome the greed. So for this, please take up the process of chanting the holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. You should know that greed is like an infection of mind. This is just an infection of, just like an infection of body, we take pills. Like that, infection of mind, we need treatment and medicine. And to treat this infection of mind and infection of greed, the medicine is chanting of Hare Krishna. You try chanting these holy names, and gradually you will see your mind is becoming free from influence of anger, lust, and greed. These are the principal anarthas, and various others. It will be slowly removed from your mind. Your heart will be cleansed. So that is the beginning of our pure spiritual life. Favorable? for going back home, back to Godhead. With this, I'll stop here. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Over to you, Prabhu, if you are around.